special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
I read from chapter 1, verse 17 of the Book of Beyond. If it can possibly happen, it happened 5 minutes ago and we finally got the crap fixed. Don't believe it. Greetings, good evening. How you doing on a beautiful summer Sunday afternoon? Live from the vault in the Full Range Entertainment Studios in Birmingham, Alabama. Your home for wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and so much more. Just don't pigeonhole us as sports talk. I'll kick your tail. This is Beyond Ringside. Fast Eddie Lane behind the control panel, welcoming in tag team partner Mark Mabo Bowman. Mabo, what's up, buddy?
It's CM Punk versus The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler versus John Cena versus Brock Lesnar versus Sting for the WWE title in an Elimination Chamber match. Mabo has control of Sting. Who's walking away with the title? You make the call.
Wonder how many fantasy leagues have actually put that one on in recent days. Actually, sounds like a major plan all the way across the board. Hope everybody's had a good week. Wicked Nemesis should be calling in just a few minutes. Got a lot of great things going on. I want to lead off with one thing. I've got a lot of messages coming out of this morning, and I say this morning because in our central time zone, in our home market of Alabama, the company with which I'm affiliated, Global Championship Wrestling, aired full 1 hour slot this morning, 1 a.m. Central, and we featured a ladies match with Angelina Rush and Tracy Taylor.
Who, by the way, I mean, of course we know Tracy's hot, but Angelina Rush, from what I saw, Kamish, you want to pass along the number in some minutes, make it happen, buddy. Know what I'm saying? Giggity.
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 I understand that concept. I know you all too well, my friend. We also featured a tag team match with O'Hagan and O'Malley, the Brotherhood versus the Underground Soldiers in a 2 out of 3 fall best of strong style match, as well as the I Quit match for the control of GCW with Micah Taylor and Mad Dog Dan Sawyer. And the feedback that I've been getting from everybody has been tremendous. Thank you to everybody who has caught the local broadcast. Because of a scheduling conflict through the CW, it actually aired 1 week later than it was supposed to. And there's a whole bunch of crap behind the scenes with CW that I'm not going to go into right now. But just to everybody who has managed to catch it and who has sent all the positive feedback over, thank you so much. Absolutely.
Happy birthday, CW, 30 years.
Yeah, really. And they're doing
I didn't realize it was that old, though.
What, CW 21?
Yeah.
Thought it was longer than that.
I mean, it's literally, or it's back when it was, what was it, WTTO 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I didn't realize it was that old.
Well, they've actually gone through some different identities because, what was it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about the original incarnation was WTTO 21.
Right, and they were an independent broadcasting station. They weren't technically any kind of network affiliated. And then I think they were the WB for a while. And then they moved.
They were, because Fox showed up, and there was Fox Kids, because I remember I used to watch Ninja Turtles, but it was Fox, and it was still WTTO for the longest. Yeah, and then when the WB came about, Michigan Frog. Anyway, yeah, that's right. Anyway, why the hell are we talking about WTTO? I did catch the broadcast last night, though. I was wondering how Micah Taylor was going to quit with a chain in his mouth, but they moved it, so there you go. But it was a good show. And, Eddie, you need to vamp because I got to pull the lasagna out. Go on speaker.
Not a problem. And matter of fact, it'll be even easier right now. Let me go ahead and swing over this way, and I will click this little button, and I will say, welcome into one of our tag team partners, the Oracle of Ominous, Pro Wrestling Manager, the Wicked Nemesis. What's up, Wick? There he is. Wick is experimenting with
just
Skype.
1 second. Okay.
Okay.
How's everyone doing tonight?
So far, so good. Mabo's playing with his lasagna, and I just recapped the last night's episode of GCW on the CW and all the feedback that had been coming in. First off, happy Father's Day, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Hey, what about me? There's some tube socks that I've impregnated.
He's on speakerphone. Holy nutmeg. Also, before we go any further, I was going to lead with this originally, but I know my dad's listening, courtesy of a friend of his, 81 years young. To my father, I want to say a very special Happy Father's Day. Thank you for putting up with my happy ass for 46 plus years. It's to say that is an accomplishment and achievement is to underrate the entire NASA conspiracy theory. So, but moving into the realm that we know best, love you, Dad. Plain and simple. Tonight, in just a little while, No Way Out from World Wrestling Entertainment. In 1 week from tonight, however, Best in the World 2012 from Ring of Honor Wrestling. I had a chance to catch ROH TV early this morning before I went to church. And I will say this, ROH is clicking on all cylinders right now as they head for Best in the World 2012. If you have not had a chance to see it yet, watch it. If someone uploads it to YouTube, watch it. If a buddy of yours wants to send you a stream, watch it. Because last night's episode of ROH was definitely worth everything. Before we start going a little bit more in depth in that, while Mabo's still playing in his impregnated socks and his lasagna,
hey, you never put that in the lasagna.
There,
blasphemy.
Of course
As an
not.
Italian American, you should recognize that. I had to put it back in because the cheese wasn't all the way melted.
There you go. Wicked, I know you probably had a strong weekend. Where all have you been this week, sir?
I was actually just at NWA Pro South in Piedmont, Alabama. It was getting ready for Chikara. They actually have their big show coming up, I believe, next week. Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. Something like that. I
think that was a Daft Punk song.
It almost sounds like the Kanye West song, but it's something to that nature. And, of course, once again, you guys will love this. 8-man tag match, Injustice with Stupid D-Clown, with, of course, Tweety in his corner, against Waylon Rhodes, the #1 contender for the NWA Pro South Heavyweight Championship. D to the C, the former NWA Pro South All-Out Champion. Tyler Gage, and Jed Johnson. Now, Tyler Gage had Columbine, I do believe, in the sharpshooter. I thought he looked parched. He was sweating profusely, so I took a big gulp of water, ran out, and spit it in his face to share the water with him. Well, during this time, somehow Columbine hit him with his even flow DDT, or whatever he's calling it. It was a nasty DDT, and pinned him 1, 2, 3. Well, with my part being done, as soon as I shared my water with him, my refreshing beverage, I got the hell out of Dodge. I mean, why would I stick around? I did my job, right?
Right.
So it was awesome. It was nice to help out Tyler Gage in such a way that he looked so parched. Maybe he had cotton mouth. Maybe he was getting high with somebody backstage. I don't know.
Yeah, how did it feel knowing that PWA? I almost expected to hear about a story of you Pearl Harboring somebody at last night's show.
Oh, no. No, I am, as I've always said, I am an evil bastard. I really am. But I am a man of morals and ethics. And the stipulation is that I am gone from PWA, from Peach State Wrestling Alliance, for 6 months. And you know what? I will honor that. But believe this. The day that 6 months is up, you better believe that I'm going to be at PWA. And what happened this first go-around is nothing compared to what's going to happen the next go-around. But I will honor the principles and the stipulations set forth before me, because, as I said, I am righteous, I am indignatious, and I am ethical. But I am a piece of trash at times. Can I say son of a bitch on the air?
Use the Jackie Gleason variation from Smokey and the Bandit 1.
Son of a gun.
No, you have to use the Jackie Gleason version from Smokey and the Bandit 1, sumbitch.
Oh, God, yes. That's great. I have not seen that movie in forever.
I watched
Did you guys know that? Hold on. Did you guys know that there are like, okay, there was Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit 2, and then Smokey and the Bandit 3. But did you know, like in the mid '90s, they came out with like four or five more?
What?
Nope.
Yes, there was Smokey. I'm trying to remember. Smokey the Bandit goes country. I'm sorry. It was called Bandit Goes Country, and then it was like Bandit. I kid you not. It was Bandit, colons or whatever. Bandit, Bandit, and then there was Bandit, and it's Silver Angel, and then like Bandit on the Run or something like that. I don't know. There's like you can pick it up at Target. Like all 7 movies on one disc or some crap like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, my personal favorite was Crash Bandicoot. That was my favorite installment of that series.
There you go. Now, actually, in my book, I say it the same way I say it about wrestling radio. The original is still the best. Welcome to Beyond Ringside. Smokey and the Bandit 1, plain and simple. That's a direct hit, too. From that vantage point, I will say this. Smokey the Bandit 1, of course. Smokey the Bandit 2, big question mark. I have not been able to make it anywhere past 15 minutes into Smokey the Bandit 3 without projectile vomiting. So, I mean, look, there's some movies that should not have sequels, or the trilogy, or the trifecta, as I like to use that word more often than not. Watch GCW TV, you know what I'm talking about. And it's like, okay, Caddyshack 1, phenomenal movie, loved it. The original is still the best. Caddyshack 2, couldn't stand it.
What?
Nothing could save Caddyshack 2.
Jackie Mason was awesome in that. When he's like,
Need the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever he's setting up with what's the guy's name that used to be on Unsolved Mysteries?
Okay.
Robert
Stack. Yeah, remember he signs up with that, and he's like lining them up. He's like, all you gotta do is say the magic word already. He's like, hate. No, that's not it. That's it. He says something, and he's like, power. That's the word. That's the word. And he just starts choking. That's great.
I mean, come on.
I'm sorry.
Dude, Jackie Gleason, when Chevy Chase was like, you need to be the ball. He's like, if I want to be a piece of sports equipment, I'll be a woman's bicycle seat.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
What was it? What was his name? Was it Jackie Mason? I always thought it was Jackie Mason.
It's Jackie Mason in that movie.
It was Hartunian. I can't remember the first part, but I know the last name was Hartunian.
I really don't remember. It's been that long since I've watched it. I mean, I was not a big fan. Now there was one good thing that came out of it. That was Dan Aykroyd. But even Dan Aykroyd,
Mrs. Esterhaus.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've got three of the greatest from Saturday Night Live in both of those movies. I'm referring to Danny Aykroyd in 2, Chevy Chase, of course, and Bill Murray in 1. I mean, what more can you say? But there's sometimes even the biggest all-star cast cannot save a movie from dying.
Prometheus. What?
Burn.
Darwin was wrong.
Let me talk about Prometheus just for a second. Prometheus was like almost every independent wrestling match I've ever seen. Almost every one. The beginning was awesome. The beginning was phenomenal. They had everything together. Everything was clicking on cylinders. And then there was like one hang up that kind of, you're like, what? That didn't make sense. Quit taking your helmets off, dumbasses. And it's just like that. It's like, why would you keep going for the same thing? You've missed a spot. Now, why would you go back to that spot? And that's exactly how it was in Prometheus. It went up, and then totally crashed. And the whole second half just totally blew. So that meant the whole first half that was good made absolutely nothing. And then they wait till the very last frame to be like, oh, alien. So stupid, man. But that's exactly... I felt like I was watching an independent wrestling match, and I told my wife that right after we left Prometheus. It was that... I mean, it started off awesome. But,
was there 15 false finishes? And everybody kicked out of everybody's finisher?
Yeah, and people snapping arms and no-selling it, yeah.
Well,
oh, cool.
Therein lies the funny part.
A guy gets his arm broke. Look, a guy gets his arm broken. He goes, he broke my arm. Yeah, dumbass. We see the bone sticking out. You stupid. Oh my. That happens in the movie. You will see it for those that see Prometheus. He actually says he breaks my arm after the thing broke his arm, and you can see the bone sticking out. It's just stupid.
We talk about the original is still the best, and there's times when you don't tamper with success. And I'm actually going to go ahead and say this to the folks who put together the new Dallas series. So far, almost so good. There's some holes that they need to fill, and I'm not talking about Wicked Nemesis in a porn movie, but by the same token, I do have to say that there's a couple of little things here and there. They're trying to get everything, the timelines built back up, and I respect what they're trying to do. But you're messing with one of my favorite shows of all time, and just to actually see Larry Hagman and back in the role of J.R. Ewing, granted he looks 196 years old, but like I said, JR is still JR, and they're going to bring a lot of things to light. I've already read some of the advances on this. For those in my age bracket and younger and older who like the original series, give the new one a shot, and TNT is not paying me to say that. I actually saw the pilot episode, and I'm working on the second episode in between trying to get caught up on SmackDown and Impact, which I did not see Impact this week. Sorry about that. But coming out of the pay-per-view last week, I think last week predicting and handicapping Slammiversary was probably one of the biggest 50-50 efforts we've ever had on this show. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I think all of us said that Bobby Roode was going to retain the TNA Championship, right, guys?
Yeah, because it's a gimme.
Yeah, even though it's either Slammiversary or Bound for Glory when Sting normally takes the belt back in the name of the company. And I really do. Honestly, I had a chance to watch the pay-per-view, and I was not disappointed. It had a couple of things here and there, but guess what? Human error is going to happen. It's not robots wrestling robots, Hugh Jackman. But by the same token, it's like, all in all, the pay-per-view was pretty good. I just wish that they could do things on a consistent basis. And I think that's the hard part for me, because, we've had different people talk about TNA wrestling and Impact Wrestling, and I made when Matt Bentley was on, and we're talking about the days back when they were doing the 2-hour Wednesday night pay-per-views for $9.95 as the weekly installment to try to help them build venture capital. The writing then was really good, but by the same token, now, and this is something that I don't know if we really want to venture into this area, because we're going at 10 minutes before the top of the hour. By the way, for the record, coming up at 7 o'clock Central Time, the Alabama legend Mike Jackson, one of the banes of Wicked Nemesis existence, will be joining us here on Beyond Ringside. Had to say it like that. The reason why I say it like that is because Wicked Nemesis and Mike Jackson were adversaries during the Peach State Wrestling Alliance War Games match from back on the 2nd of June over in Carrollton, Georgia. So I have a feeling that if there's any possibility that Wicked could run a really bad signal feed through the phone lines and deafen Mike Jackson, he would find a way to do it. Right, Wick?
Well, it's not just me that has a problem with Mike Jackson. Every young guy, everybody under the age of 40 that has ever come out of the state of Alabama in wrestling has a problem with Mike Jackson. And that's because Mike Jackson tries to pay you with nutsack sweat money. Plain and simple. He's a stingy bastard, and he's stopped a lot of people's careers. In his career, there's been a lot of people that he didn't like that he totally crapped on, and that he spread the word to every promoter that would listen and to everybody that listened that you were a piece of crap. And the first time that I really met him, I'd worked 3 or 4 shows with him. But of course, I was a nobody, so he didn't care about me. I wasn't making money for him, and I definitely wouldn't sell any raffle tickets for him. So the whole thing is that when I come to PWA, he tried to talk to me like I was a greenhorn, like I was just in the business, and I told him straight to his face in front of everybody that was booked on that card, Mike Jackson, I'm not some stupid greenhorn. I've been in this business long enough. I paid my dues. I went up and down this business. I've worked for free. I've worked for good money. I make damn good money managing, and you can kiss my ass because I'm the greatest manager alive. I said, I know that you're used to dealing with stupid asses. I'm not one of those. And in fact, the last thing that I said to Mike Jackson after the show, I said, now you've worked with a great manager. You can die. Those are my last words to Mike Jackson. As I was leaving PWA, I kid you not.
And that almost sounds like something I said back in 1987. However,
well, this is 2012, and it was great to tell Mike Jackson finally. You see, because let me tell you guys something. This is a shoot. Mike Jackson has a lot of pull at PWA. Mike Jackson told me to my face, and to everybody in what was called at that time the Tribulation, that there was just no way that the exotic ones could get over as baby faces. I'm telling you.
Yep.
There's just it just can't be done. If it can be done, then you're one of the best. Well, you guys were there. What type of pop did Tommy Too Much and Simon Sermon individually get going into that War Games Steel Cage, the Match Beyond match? Mabo.
They ain't came out of their seats for them, that's for sure.
Yep.
Fast Eddie Lane.
I will concur wholeheartedly for those who think you can't get the exotic ones over as faces in a non-major market city. Guess what? It happened.
An openly homosexual man.
So what?
I had parents. Simon Sermon, sorry.
I know.
I had parents, and everybody will say this. There were people out there that were saying, I want my son to be just like you.
Oh, God.
To Simon Sermon, and I swear to God, I'm on my knees right now in my living room with my headset on, and may lightning strike me dead if parents did not tell that to us. And I was like, this is amazing. And then, the night that I set Mike Jackson's ass on fire, set him on fire, because as I told Mike Jackson, Mike, you're wearing too much baby oil. When I throw this fireball on you, it's going to set you on fire, dumbass. Well, kid, I've been in this business a long time, kid. I know what I'm doing. That means I don't have to wear. I can just bandage it up and be real. And when I threw that fireball on him in the ring, and Chris Knox and CJ Awesome let him go, and he rolled around in there for 4 to 5 seconds and was literally on fire on his chest, all I could do was laugh, because Mike Jackson brought that on himself. Mike Jackson is a hell of a talent. You can actually go and look at the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors DVD, and you can see him take a vicious double clothesline from the Road Warriors and about crap his pants on the special features during the matches. But that's all he really shows up on. But yes, he did walk the entire cage with doing the old school, because of course I always knew the Undertaker did it, but apparently Mike Jackson has been doing it since Moses was molested by sheep or something. I'm not real sure, and he gained his magical powers over the Egyptians. I'm just paraphrasing here.
I know you are.
But it was good. It was good to tell Mike Jackson, though. It was good to be able to tell him, I got the exotic ones over. The MOD got the exotic ones over, and on top of that, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, I don't give a crap where you're from, will get the heat that we did. We got so much heat that I got arrested for starting a riot that I wasn't even at. Okay? Until you can sit down with the chief of police and him literally tell you, we have 78 emails and letters, because this is how mad these people were at us, guys. They sent actual letters. The post office owes us money. The post office in Carrollton, Georgia, we put people back in business. I mean, they were going to fire 7,800 people, and they decided to keep them all just because of all the emails and all the literal mail that they got through the post office to the chief of police, and that's a shoot. It was fantastic to sit there and tell him, yes, sir, I started that, but I was not there. And you know why? Because these backwards redneck pieces of poo-poo, and Mabo, you saw them. Mabo, were they not foaming at the mouth when I come out?
Well, I've seen shows like Spartacus and watched movies like Gladiator, and do you like Gladiator movies, Billy? And I've seen what can only be compared to what the Romans looked like back in the day, except for I'm pretty sure even without a dental plan, the Romans had better teeth than the population of Carrollton, Georgia. But they were ravenous. They were like, a Jenny Craig meeting just let out in front of the Golden Corral. They were hungry. They wanted to rip and tear and just gnash their way through you. And they wanted your blood. They wanted to paint the ring with your blood.
Yes, they did. But one thing I will say, they wanted my blood. You know what they did at Piedmont, which you can check out on my YouTube page, Wicked Nemesis Enoch, ENOCH, on YouTube? The Memorial Day incident. To start off that, they were singing Amazing Grace to me. The first 6 or 7 people actually broke out into Amazing Grace, because of course, they consider me Satan. And I have no idea. I'm walking around with a crucifix around my neck. And I quote the Bible, but yet I'm satanic and Luciferian. it was amazing. I mean, I love it. That's why you get into wrestling. Let me ask you a question, Eddie, really quick before I know we got to go to a break, and just say, why did you get into wrestling? Why did you say that why did you want to be in this business?
I think we're going to need more than just 3 minutes to cover that.
Let me tell you why I got into this business, because I wanted to be larger than life. I wanted to be treated like a god. I wanted people to give me stuff. I wanted people's kids to be like me. I wanted to be a god in professional wrestling. Whether it be what you would consider an evil god or a god or a just god. It really doesn't. It depends on what side of the coin you're on, good and evil. But I wanted to be larger than life. I wanted to be more than a superstar, because back then superstar was an actual, a show itself to WWE.
Right.
But I wanted to be
on 3 separate occasions.
Larger than life. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to be larger than life. I wanted to be considered a god. And you all know, after everything that's been going on, all the riots I've started, the last calendar year, I think I've done just about what I wanted to do, with the exception of being on national TV, and I've done TV, being a part of the NWA.
And in other places too.
Well, I was just saying, the NWA is y'all know I really respect the NWA, but that's why I wanted to be in the business. Short and simple. I wanted to be considered a god. I wanted to be larger than life. There you go. Boom. And we've still got time before the break.
And that would lead me to Mabo, because I'm going to ask a similar question to Mark, because you and I have gotten to become friends because of pro wrestling, and that's a friendship that I deeply treasure and genuinely appreciate. And we have about 90 seconds before the break. Are you going to need more time for me to ask you what really started in the early days? What drew you to pro wrestling? Do you need more time than that?
No, I was just like a perverted little kid, and I really liked seeing half-naked guys roll around with each other in their underwear.
And on that note, I'm going to take the break a minute early. Folks, we'll be back in 5 right here on Beyond Ringside. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest for RAD. Over 300 people in this country are killed every week by a drunk driver. That's the equivalent of 2 747 plane crashes every single week. And the problem isn't going away unless we all do our part to stop it. So if you see someone who's about to drive after drinking, get the keys. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This is Awesome Austin Creed, the smartest man in this industry called pro wrestling, the valedictorian of this business. You are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
8. I deliver your Sunday paper every week.
7. We work on the same floor.
1 in 8 Americans is struggling with hunger.
6. Our kids walk to school together every day,
including millions of children and seniors.
5. We chat in the elevator at work sometimes.
4. I'm your cashier at the grocery store.
Who's the 1 in 8 in your life that needs help? You can make a difference through Feeding America at feedingamerica.org/1in8. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Gabe Sapolsky from Dragon Gate USA and Evolve Pro Wrestling, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Most days go by without a whole lot of surprises. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life, as you know it, has completely turned on its head? Would you be prepared? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
This is Jim Cornette. You are locked into the show of all time, Beyond Ringside.
The odds of becoming a signed artist and having 3 #1 albums? 1 in 100 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of this performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul Ellering, and you're locked into Beyond the Ringside.
Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne. For many years, you know I've had a drink problem, and I'm trying to battle that problem every single day. But one thing I don't drive my car when I'm drinking. I get someone to drive me. Do not drink and drive. It's the stupidest thing. If you drink, just don't drive. Not only are you going to hurt yourself, you may hurt some other person, and you wouldn't want that on your conscience, would you?
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Listen up, this is the NWA North American Heavyweight Champion, the Temptation Sean Tempers, and right now, you are locked in with Beyond Ringside.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep. There was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped-a-looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Ben Masters locking it down with Beyond Ringside. Don't miss it. Be there.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I don't know how to talk like a parent. Don't make me come back there. You see what I mean? It's pretty awful. Try it again. Don't make me come back there. Now that's pretty good. That one kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is GCW's senior official Bernie Kowanowitz, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is Joe Perry and Steven Tyler of Aerosmith for Red. You know, it's okay to rock and roll and party down. Just don't get in that 2,000-pound bullet when you're done and cocked. And please don't drink and drive. I'm the one that jaded you.
A reminder that friends don't let friends drive drunk. A public service message brought to you by the Ad Council, U.S. Department of Transportation, National Association of Broadcasters, and RAD.
This is Bad Brad Armstrong, part of the famous Armstrong family of professional wrestling, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
You must be your fairy godmother. Yes.
It doesn't take a fairy godmother to tell you that the right fit means everything.
Good heavens, child. You can't go in that.
Children under 4'9" need to be in a booster seat because they aren't ready for adult safety belts alone. Remember that 4'9" is the magic number, and get your little pumpkin there safely in a booster seat.
Oh, thank you.
For more information, visit boosterseat.gov. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Charlie!
Hey, did you see that play last night?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and they still lost.
Sure.
You know, when I was playing, what we tried to...
You played in the street.
I played in the service. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the kid, he should have...
Yeah, Hey, you okay?
I don't...
Someone call 911!
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke, but you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey parents, introducing the Communicizer. Go from boring old man speak.
Oh, you know, I'm here if you want to talk.
To 100% off the chain.
Text me whenever, yo.
I love you, Dad.
Communicizer is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to AdoptUsKids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is Bullet Bob Armstrong. I'm Southern-born, Southern-bred, and I never miss Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to the original Rockin' Wrestling Radio Show. Welcome to Beyond Ringside, your source for wrestling, MMA, and boxing in the Southeast. To contact the Ringside Roundtable of Beyond Ringside, email them at beyondringside@gmail.com. And now, your host for Beyond Ringside, the man, no myth, all legend, Fast Eddie Lay.
Greetings, good evening, and happy Father's Day. Even if you're a mother, happy Father's Day. All of the above. Well, we are also broadcasting to California, Massachusetts as well. Fast Eddie Lane, live from behind the control panel, welcoming back in tag team partners Mark Mabo Bowman.
Sorry, I was scratching my nose. What?
Top of the hour, welcome back.
Well, I mean, like, I got this, like, where my glasses are getting old, it's like rubs this one little spot on my nose. It's like rubbed it raw, and when I scratch it, sometimes it gets really, it's almost like an orgasm. Shut up. Anyway.
At you, ooh, baby. Wicked Nemesis, welcome back in.
Oh, yes, my friend, Eduardo. Eddie, I asked you before the break, why you wanted to be in the professional wrestling business. Mabo said it was to see, half-naked men roll around and touch each other and fondle each other.
There you go.
My response was I wanted to be larger than life. I wanted to be, like a god in some people's eyes. And your response is, sir?
Well, actually, before I do, Mabo, do you want to revise and extend your remarks, or do you want to go ahead and leave it at what you said?
No, I still like watching half-naked men roll around.
Okay.
Just real quick, because I know when Eddie starts talking, that'll carry us all the way to the 7 o'clock hour with Mike Jackson. But, I don't know. I'm going to be honest, everybody can say, well, I saw this match, or I saw this program, or I saw this, I wanted to be this, do this, whatever, I want to be a comic book superhero. I was watching pro wrestling before, I got into comic books, so that's not the answer. I honestly and wholeheartedly cannot say what drew me to pro wrestling. I mean, I can remember watching, I was watching, believe it or not, I was watching Continental and NWA before I, started watching WWF. What drew it to me? I don't know. I'm sure maybe if we did some hypnotherapy, we could roll back the clock and find out. Maybe it really was I wanted to watch guys roll around and touch each other. I don't know. But, I mean, there's been very few consistencies in my life, and pro wrestling's been one of them. And I wish I could say what drew me to it, but I don't know.
A stand-up comedian did a sketch years ago, and he made a reference to him going on Oprah. And I think it was Foxworthy who said it originally to me. I would be the one going on Oprah going, my mom was phenomenal, my dad was great, there were times when I was just a pain in the ass. And that's me in a nutshell, by the way. Pick another body part, we'll talk later. But the short version is, my entire life, I've always been one who wanted to find a reason to help people to smile. Whether it be a genuine guffaw laugh, whether it be oh God, I can't believe he said that or did that, which those have been numerous in my life. We'll talk about the latter at the party somewhere down the road. And I saw reactions from people who were wrestling fans, first on television, and then when I started going to the live shows. And I'm still a kid at this point. I'm in early double-digit ages. And for me, it was genuinely, whether you were a fan of the heels, which it wasn't fashionable really to be a fan of the heels back in those days. If you were cheering the bad guys, people were trying to boo you out of the building. But I also found out that the more I cheered for the heels, the louder they'd get for the faces. And when the face did that much better, these people would be smiling. So I would take the crap for being a heel fan, just to get just to see them smile that much more when the faces went over. Or when I had an opportunity and the heels actually did something, whether it be a screw finish or whatever, as I would come to learn about 15 or 16 years old, the gimmick phrases, I would get a sadistic smile out of being, and no, that's not who you think. But I think it really stems, and that's why I'm going to sit back and I'll say this right now. If I go tomorrow, the one thing in particular that I want to be remembered for is, did I find a way to help you to smile? Well, in pro wrestling, I do everything I can to help people have a good time, to help people smile, occasionally laugh, and it's that mission for me. Because pro wrestling, properly done, who's got the vibrator? Don't answer that. Is a way for people to have a good time. And I think my characters over the years in pro wrestling have been an extension of myself, whether it be as Eddie Richard, manager, who's a wisecracking smartass who sometimes just doesn't know when to shut up, or Fast Eddie Lane, the wisecracking smartass who sometimes still doesn't know when to shut up. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, please understand I will be running for Supreme Court Justice in the next 2 years. So, speaking of, when we talk about situations,
I just want to say something really quick. That is, you're such a baby face. You make me sick. That's the stupidest crap I've ever heard in my entire life. Because you want to make somebody smile, then be a clown, Eduardo. Oh, you're such a baby face. Tell him, Mabo. Get him, Mabo.
Yeah, you're a clown face with your shoes and your car full of other clowns.
This is
clown man.
See, this is where you're actually. See, this is where you're.
Oh my God! Is that not the most annoying, catchy song ever?
Yes, always.
I love that. Madagascar 3.
Makes me want to go play something by Enigma just to get it out of my head.
Polka dot circus, Afro.
Spoiler alert, they make it back to the zoo and then turn around and join the circus again.
That's
what my mom told me. She went with my aunt and cousin the other night, and I said, "You're going to hear that song. It's going to get stuck in your head." And I called her today, and she was like, "You're right."
Now I just spoiled Madagascar 3D for everybody. I'm such a heel. Kiss my ass.
Now here's
but you're also,
and Santa Claus isn't real.
Yes, he is.
But you're also a heel, but yet you went and saw Madagascar.
No kidding.
No. Actually, the kids did Friday night while I was spitting in Tyler Gage's face because I thought he was arch. My kids were watching Madagascar 3D, spending my money that I was making at the show.
Well, then you are a good father, sir.
Hey,
I know. I'm a horrible piece of trash husband, but I'm a great father. I know that.
I thought you were going to say.
I'm very proud to say I'm a great father, and I'm the greatest manager, besides Bobby Heenan alive. So.
Now, actually, there is a second part to this, and I'll make it real quick. When I first started watching pro wrestling, I saw the fact of how people were treated like rock stars in this business. One of my favorite bands of all time is Kiss, and now here's another half of the truth. Believe me, I wanted that, not necessarily wanted or needed, but I saw the rock star treatment that a lot of people got in this business, and I wanted to be a rock star so bad it wasn't even funny. So yeah, that's one of the other reasons. Like, yeah. Cute girls talking to the guys all the time. Hello, Mother Goose, and I ain't talking about Baba Black Sheep. And
but I was joking about the husband and father thing. That was all a joke. Everybody get real, because I know my email is going to blow up. I can't believe you said that. Yeah, it was a joke. Everybody get over it.
Look, that's one of the reasons why people listen to this show, is because they want to find out what the hell we're going to say next. It's like, okay, who is Wicked Nemesis going to find a way to offend somebody this week? Is Mabo going to actually make that reference to make people think that, really? And then it's like, God, can Eddie be any more vanilla half the time during an interview or during a regular rant segment?
But Eddie, this is what people miss. Mabo come up with a topic off air for it being Father's Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mabo says some of the craziest stuff out there, and I like to offend everybody because I'm a heel. Mabo is about to blow everybody's mind because I said a few names off air, and he was just boom. I was like, oh my God, I don't need the computer. I don't need the computer for this. But do you mind if Mabo actually presents this spot, Eddie, since it was his idea?
Yeah, Mark, go for it.
Really, you guys know I have no. What are you talking about presented? I mean, okay. Can I get a drum roll, Eddie?
Hold on.
In honor of Father's Day, screw it. Let's talk the generations of pro wrestling. Now, you have the stars of yesteryear, yesterday, and today, and tomorrow. They all came from somebody's nutsack.
That's right.
Or the flying tea bag.
Or with the flying tea bag. That pretty little girl Stitch Cipher. Stop it. You're going to get me off topic. Stay on topic. Stay on topic. But anyway, let's hit it. I mean, we've got names out there, and there's some people who you'll throw out a name, you'll be like, wow, he has a kid, or in pro wrestling, or you'll sit there and go, wow, his dad was in pro wrestling. So, I'll leave it up to you guys, Eddie. You're better at moderating this crap than I am, man.
The short version is Mabo's actually in honor of Father's Day, laying the topic on the table about second and third generation wrestlers and performers in our industry. Now, in my world, the first words that pop into my head are Von Erich. The second word that pops into my head is DiBiase, because when it comes to, and third, Armstrong. Not necessarily in that order. That's the order that they're just popping in the head. Because you've got Mulligan.
Let's take each one then.
Okay. You know, Jack Atkinson, which everybody knows that's his real name. We're not pulling the curtain back on that. Fritz Von Erich. Probably the most, I don't really want to use the word cursed, but I almost feel that's the word you have to use. Because we all know in pro wrestling that relationships are the hardest thing about this business. They really are. Whether you're in the business seeing someone out of the business or you're in the business seeing someone in the business.
Or if you're both in the business and you're seeing each other.
That was the second one, actually. If you're both in the business. And to have a family in this industry. Now, you've got two sides to this coin. One is the Von Erich family. I feel my heart goes out to Fritz, to Jack and his wife at that point, with all the things that his family has gone through. By the same token, my heart also goes out to Bullet Bob Armstrong and his family because of all the things they've gone through. I would say, honestly, if you have to put it on the table, the first family of professional wrestling is still going to be the Von Erichs. Mabo?
Well, I mean, there's, people who would disagree, and ironically enough, the WWE the other day posted on their website the top 15 families or whatever, and there was a lot of people who were like, seriously? I mean, of course, guess who the number one family was?
The McMahons.
Of course. Stroke the ego,
it's their company.
But I would say if this was still the 80s into the early 90s, then yes, the Von Erichs would be the number one family. But what do they have? And this is not any kind of slight on them whatsoever, because this is one of the other shows I watched growing up was World Class that was coming on. What is it? ESPN.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing all the Von Erichs, and when Kerry made it, up to New York, big time there. And then, of course, we all know the tragedies that befell literally every one of them, including the matriarch and the patriarch. Yeah, but I mean, to say they're the number one family, these days, I would have to question. I mean, and I'm not trying to crap on their legacy, but look what they had carrying their name about 3 years ago. Lacey Von Erich. Don't get me wrong, beautiful. Wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating a sandwich.
Unless you wanted to eat the sandwich on the floor.
Oh, I'd eat the sandwich off her ass.
You would.
But right now, there's, and I'm not trying to, slight them or slight your choice. That's your opinion. I could honestly not, I could not agree with him being the number one. Now, I have heard rumors that Kevin, his boys, or at least one of them, is looking to get in the business and is training with his father. So, let's talk 5 years down the road. The Von Erich name might become prevalent again if he doesn't go to WWE and they change it to like Schmidecki or something like that. So
probably will knowing Vince.
Von Erich, I would have to disagree.
Okay. Wicked.
Okay. Now, I grew up in late 86, early 87 in Dallas, Texas, downtown Dallas. And although David, who I consider, who was the Yellow Rose of Texas, who I consider the greatest of the Von Erichs, sorry, Fritz, he died in 84. I'm not sure of the exact date, but I know it was in 84. They were still treated as kings and queens
of
Dallas and all of Texas, really. But they had one tragedy after another, and they are up there as one of the best families. But the question is who do people consider to be the best? Because we all know of Kerry, come on now. We all know of Kerry and we all know of Kevin, but I mean, they had other people that have died in their family, like Chris, I know, was one of them, and I can't remember their other son's name.
Mike
that died, young.
Mike.
But what did you say, Mike?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, Mike. Yeah, I knew it was something like that, but I wasn't really sure. Sorry, I am washing clothes. I do apologize to everybody. That's what the buzzer keeps going off in the background. I do apologize. Hey, when you got kids, you got to wash clothes. But besides the Hart, who I consider to be the greatest family in all of wrestling because of what they produce, the Von Erichs have got to be number two. And the McMahons, although they haven't produced many wrestlers, Shane has wrestled, Vince has wrestled,
Stephanie has
Stephanie
too.
has quote unquote wrestled.
Yeah.
And even with Triple H being married into that family, I consider the Harts to be the greatest family of all time. With Brett and Owen, Owen is still considered one of the greatest wrestlers ever. And in fact, if you talk to a lot of the old school guys, they'll tell you that David Von Erich is one of the best ever as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's nothing to take anything away from the master of the Iron Claw, Fritz Von Erich. But, you know, to me, David was the best. The Von Erichs is the second greatest family. You talk about Kerry, Kevin, you know. If there's a wrestling roundtable out there, because we were talking about Friday night, in fact, where you actually see, and I'm not sure who was in it, but whenever it is revealed that Kerry has his foot missing, there is a gentleman cutting a promo, calls him a snot-nosed, brat, says he's a, spoiled brat and everything, and goes to grab him, and he does a single leg takedown on Kerry, and Kerry has his foot, obviously, amputated, which nobody knew about. Let's talk about that for a second. The fact that nobody knew for years that he was missing a foot.
Right.
After a motorcycle accident, which subsequently killed him because he became addicted to painkillers.
Right.
Over that time. And another quick note, and I may be breaking kayfabe, I do apologize, but this is Beyond Ringside, and we are about to go beyond Ringside. David Von Erich supposedly died of something with his intestines, like a uritis or some crap like that.
Acute eternitis.
Oh, yes, sir. But there's a rumor that we've all heard that he also died of an apparent drug overdose. I think it was Ric Flair, I believe, wrote in his book that Bruiser Brody actually disposed of the narcotics and flushed them down a toilet in Japan, so to make it seem like something else had happened.
Right.
So, but Kerry Von Erich did die, because he was addicted to painkillers, and yes, we all know that he did commit suicide by shooting himself in the heart of all places. Coincidentally enough, it was because of his addiction to painkillers, because he started being arrested. His life started spiraling out of control because of that. He even spent time in jail. And it may have been right after he got out of jail that he committed suicide. But a lot of people consider him the best. But to me, it was David. No matter what, David was. They wrestled barefoot. Enough said.
Kevin did more so than anybody else in the family did.
Yes, but still, though.
Yeah, the short version is on David, and I remember this because I think I still have the magazine, either Pro Wrestling Illustrated or Inside Wrestling, that talks about the death of David. David's death was originally, and still is to this day, accredited to a term called acute eternitis, which is basically your intestinal tract explodes. Sounds like something that, well, I'm not even going to elucidate on that. Mike Von Erich, apparently part of his problem was a complication from toxic shock syndrome. Now, this is the part that really bothers me, because it is very difficult for a male to get TSS. From that vantage point, yes, we know about Chris. Yes, we know about hold on. Kerry, Kevin, David, Chris, Mike. Okay. I had to remember. And, and you talk about feeling bad for Fritz. I feel bad for Kevin as the sole survivor, in theory. Granted, yeah, and to expound on something Mabo said, unfortunately in our society, the last thing you see is normally the first thing you remember. So for everybody who thinks the words Von Erich and you think Lacey, I am so sorry. I really am, because the Von Erich name deserves a better legacy than what Lacey did on television. Or in porn, it doesn't matter. Or at your local strip joint, Brooke Hogan.
Well, Eddie, I mean, you got to think about it though. And if it wasn't for WWE 24/7 and then WWE, having the rights,
classics on demand,
world-class library, people, very few people, especially the kids today that are watching it, who saw more of Lacey Von Erich than Kevin, Kerry, Mike, David,
Chris.
any of them. They wouldn't even, know. I mean, they could go look it up, but I mean, it wouldn't, that would be who they had to base the legacy off of, and they'd just be like, really?
Now, let's also run this. Go ahead.
And also, they're not prevalent enough, as you said, on TV. Not just as a family, but in general, they're not really spoken about as a family. You know, when you talk about second and third, generation wrestlers, The Rock is always the first one that comes up, and then you have the Harts. You have the DiBiase's. The Armstrongs aren't even spoken of that much. I mean, they are when Road Dogg come back, and was actually right before the Hall of Fame or whatever when he come back, whatever
as an agent.
Was. But the Von Erichs have just kind of been cast aside. They're kind of like the Harts are the ones that are kind of the tragic ones. For those that really don't know wrestling, but for those that are astute in the business of wrestling and in the history of wrestling and in the school of wrestling, the Von Erichs are the ones that's like, no, forget that. Those are the ones that are the telltale signs, because he pushed these kids from day one. Fritz made them play football. Fritz made them play baseball. Fritz made them do this. Right. He groomed them to be wrestlers. There's absolutely no way those kids were not going to be wrestlers, and that's why I know one of them. I think Chris was the one that committed suicide because he wasn't going to make it in wrestling.
Right.
And he knew of this.
I believe it. Well, there was one. I think it was Chris. Whatever the youngest one was, he never grew as tall as David and Mike and Kerry and Kevin. And come on,
Yeah, that was Chris.
Yeah, medicinally or not, we all know, Kerry Von Erich had the physique of a god.
Yes.
And the hair to match.
Oh my God, yes.
The face, not so much. Looked like a horse. But that's beside the point. Poor Chris. He came out. No pun intended, but he came out the oven half jacked anyway. So, and he tried, and God bless him, he tried. His dad gave him the opportunity, but if people talk about the tragedy of the Harts and the extended family, the Smiths and all that, but if you want to talk about who did tragedy first, and not to glorify it, but it was the Von Erichs.
Yeah. Now, and here's another one. This is something you have to take into consideration. I believe the line was used, and here comes another Smokey the Bandit reference. Burt Reynolds said to Sally Field on one of the slow points in the movie, a lot of it is based on from where you come from as to just how smart you really are. Because in the Northeast, people are going to look at the Hennig family. They're going to look at the Bockwinkel. They're going to look at the McMahons. They're going to look at the Harts a little bit more discerningly than us in the southeastern United States, where we look at the Armstrong family, because you remember in WCW you had the Armstrong curse. Go from that vantage point. Down in Florida, you talk about the Graham family. In
you can't forget the Fuller Golden.
Correct.
Fuller Welch.
Fuller Welch Golden family. Yeah. You had three different, and they crossed over. God, inbreeding, what a wonderful thing. Go to the southwestern United States. You've got the Von Erichs. Don't forget the Guerrero family, the Rhodes family. And once again, it's a case of where you come from. As to, in case point scenario, southeastern United States, the Lawler family, Jerry and Brian, father and son. The Midwest, of course, is going to remember the DiBiase family more than anything else, because remember, they're from the Missouri market. Northeast, San Martino, because remember, David wrestled for a while.
The Watts family, Eric and Cowboy.
Yes, that's.
Yes. See, I've actually worked for Eric Watts.
Yeah, I've actually heard tell that you have.
So a lot of it, and this is where I will say, in my humble opinion, yeah, the McMahons deserve to be up there and mentioned because what they've done for the sports entertainment and before that pro wrestling industry. But that, because, and a lot of people, case point scenario, this past Monday night on Raw, and I'm about to go to the bottom of the hour break, so bear with me for about 30 seconds. The pop that Vince McMahon got when his music hit and people came out of the chairs. This is the same group. These are similar to the groups of people, and I'll agree to what Laura and I just said. Yes, mark this date down. Remember how Vince McMahon used to be booed during the corporate ministry era? And
Eddie, I said that on Twitter. No matter what Vince does, no matter how he quote unquote goes out before he's gone for 3 to 6 months, when he comes back, regardless, until he opens his mouth and does whatever actions he needs to do. Giggity. The crowd blows blows the roof off the joint when that first few notes of No Chance. Hell, No Chance freaking trended for like I don't know how long.
I like the fact that Fire Johnny was actually a shoot #1 trend worldwide. That was funny. Really, I'm wrapping up this part of the segment. Think about it though. The Flair family.
Oh, but there's more.
Oh God,
more.
yes.
Tune in.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna keep this going for a few minutes after the break, folks. Tell you what, we are gonna disappear for 5 and take our bottom of the hour break. You are listening to the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
It's a 1:15 on the night with Lady Annabella and Darius Rucker. So this is not my bad comeback song. June 21st at Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Just a kiss on your lips in the moonlight. Lady Annabella on the Night 2012 World Tour. Baby, you're the only one I run to. Lady Annabella Live. And Darius Rucker. It won't be like this for long. Plus special guest Thompson Square. You gonna kiss me on June 21st at Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Get reserved seats now at livenation.com or charge by phone. Hey, I'm just looking for. Don't miss Lady Annabella and Darius Rucker with special guest Thompson Square. Sponsored by GAC. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
The biggest bands in rock. The wildest stage shows on earth. The biggest live event of the summer.
Everybody's gonna move their feet.
Kiss and Motley Crue. The Tour 2012. It doesn't get any better than this. July 31st, Oak Mountain Amphitheater. 2 iconic bands, 1 historic tour. Kiss, Motley Crue. July 31st, Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Reserve seats are on sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com or charge by phone at 800-745-3000. Kiss and Motley Crue. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Hi, I'm Drew Brees, NFL quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, here with Bugs Bunny to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you fuel your body and your mind.
So what do you like to throw around the football like Drew?
Skateboard, ride a bike, or dance in your room.
Just move it your way.
And be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
This is Angel, half of the Double Trouble Morning Team on Distant Thunder Radio, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like fish sticks. Fillets, I get, but sticks? Maybe we can just compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with Brie?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Foreclosure is hard on every member of the family, but your family is not alone. If you're struggling with your mortgage, there is help. To learn about the government's Making Home Affordable program, visit makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE to speak to a HUD-approved housing counselor. It's free of charge. Visit makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE today. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, NeighborWorks America, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Joe Elliott from Def Leppard for RAD. Planning on going out and having a party? Great, have a lot of fun. But do me a big favour and don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives. You should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Robin Zander.
Hello, this is Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick for RAD.
Some people think it's fun to drive drunk, but that's unacceptable.
Be smart. If you drink,
don't drive.
Think ahead and choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans from around the world, I'm Lightning Mike Quackenbush, the master of 1,000 holds, and you're locked in for Beyond Ringside.
Citizens of America, this is a message from feedthepig.org. Americans spent more money than they earned in 2005. This is the first negative savings rate in the U.S. since the Great Depression. America, we must start feeding the pig. On the 1st and the 15th, we must pay ourselves before we pay anyone or anything. We must make a budget. Even consider cutting up a credit card. Log on to feedthepig.org today. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is Dan the B7, the only Triple Crown champion in the UFC history, and you're listening to Beyond Ringside. You better pay attention, otherwise I know where you live.
On a beautiful summer Sunday night, welcome back into Beyond Ringside, live from the vault in the Full Range Entertainment Studios in beautiful Birmingham, USA. Birmingham, Birmingham, something like that. Don't know. Fast Eddie Lane behind the control panel. Wicked Nemesis, welcome back.
I just want to say I'm a huge fan of Chris Christopherson. I just want to throw that out there. Great music, great actor, phenomenal actor, very underrated.
Mabo, Mark Bowman, welcome back.
Sorry, you guys got to realize I'm playing WWE 12 right now, and I'm in the middle of the draft.
You know, I really wish on that Build a Wrestler thing, and you got me started thinking about this during the previous segment. First off, to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. We were talking about different families, second and third generation performers in our industry, wrestlers, all of the above. And I thought of a beautiful three-way triple threat. And if you want to make it a title match like for the U.S. Championship back in the WCW NWA era, where the belt had meaning, sorry kids, I would like to see in their prime, and through modern technology we can now see that, Kevin Von Erich versus Owen Hart versus Brad Armstrong. If you want to talk about what could be classified as a triple threat or a three-way dance for the ages, because Kevin, Owen, and Brad, solid technical wrestlers, not afraid to go to the air at the drop of a hat, expansive knowledge. But think about that. You've got three of the most solid performers, three of the most solid workers, wrestlers, from three of the most prominent families of all time in professional wrestling.
How about this? David Von Erich, Owen Hart, and Mad Dog Vachon.
That's a conceivable. I just thought of one more person I wanted to add to that to make it a four-way.
With Ted DiBiase?
That's
who I would add.
Barry Windham.
Oh.
And see, Eddie, I was going to bring that up.
I can't believe I haven't mentioned him.
As we're moving through the families, the Mulligan, Wyndham, Rotundo family, which we will touch on a little bit later on when we move to the future of the business, Bray Wyatt. But to get back on topic, we covered the Bray Wyatt. We've covered the past generations. Touched on a couple of them. Myself, I would put, as far as past generations, definitely strongest family is the Hart family, not only because of the family itself, but how many stars came out of the Hart dungeon. people could say, oh, well, the McMahons have produced a lot of stars. The McMahons might have marketed a lot of stars, but I don't think Vince or Shane or Stephanie physically got in there and stretched somebody till the blood vessels in their eyeballs pop and they crap their pants.
Mabo, you said it exactly right. You just hit the word exactly. Marketed. They marketed sports entertainers and superstars. The Harts made and trained and built, taught etiquette, taught respect, taught honor, taught history to
Tradition.
wrestlers.
Tradition.
You are exactly right, Mabo. I think that should be. You need to go back, and we need to have Mabo re-say that, and it should be, marketed, because that's what it is. That is the key word right there that separates the McMahon family from everything. Yes, the McMahon family is the most powerful because of look at what they're doing now, but they marketed their talent because they had other people train them. They picked, and chose. The Harts broke you down and then built you up.
Yep.
You are 100% correct on that, Mabel, and I do apologize, but I just wanted to point that out, that you hit the keyword marketed. Go on, please.
But I mean, like I said, we covered, I love talking about the future of the business, both
Bray Wyatt,
the generations, second and third. But right now, several, both companies. Okay, well, I'm not going to say both companies. The WWE has a lot of second and third generation superstars right now. That their fathers and their grandfathers blazed a trail for them. You got guys like Ted DiBiase Jr. We brought up the DiBiase family, Ted Sr. and then Iron Mike. A lot of people don't know that Ted Jr. has two other brothers. I believe there's Mike Jr., or I guess it's Mike, I don't know, you can't really call him a junior, and it's Ted Mike, and then there's another one. I can't remember his name right now.
How many are actually in FCW?
None right now because, Ted got called up. But, there was they were looking at one, and they kind of, passed on him. And then I think there was two in there at one point, and then they let one of them go. But anyway, then you've got the Hennig family. People think, oh, Michael McGillicuddy, came from Kurt from Larry, but they McGillicuddy has a sister who was in the business at one point, Amy Hennig, beast of a woman, not very pretty like Natalia, which rolls me into Natalia. I mean, we go back to the Harts; they are literally in their blood. You've got. Right now, on the scene, you've got Natalia up in WWE. You've got Harry working for Ring Ka King, which is based out of TNA, which I'm going to cover something else. We're going to cover the end of Impact later on. We'll get to that. You've got Teddy, who, bit of a douche, but, whatever. Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd was pretty much considered a, adopted member of the Hart family. And I think Smith or Bruce, one of their kids is training. I mean, the world is going to have a Hart/Smith person in the business probably until the earth cracks open and the gooey nougat center falls out.
Don't forget the British Bulldog.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Eddie.
Yeah.
All married into the family. The Neidharts and technically you could even go further. Dynamite Kid.
Yep.
Cousin of the British Bulldog. So you got that.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Well, yep. And then all that. So you had that British, the British Canada, cross mix who have produced such great second and third generation superstars. Besides The Rock, who nobody can really tell if The Rock's in the business, is not a business, and we'll get to the Samoans in a minute. And I'm going to run.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, we're probably going to have to we're probably going to have to kick it into overdrive because we're at 15 minutes before the top of the hour, 14 before the top of the hour right now. And remember, we're going to be joined by Action Mike Jackson at the top of the 7 o'clock hour.
Look, that old fart can DVR Matlock and get his lime jello later. I'm talking. Okay.
Dang.
So okay, well, then we'll kick it into overdrive real quick with the modern day generations. You got the Ortons, Randy Orton. I mean, if he keeps things up, the Orton name might not be something you want to recognize. Did Bob Orton do much in the business?
Regionally, yes.
Yeah, or Bob Orton Jr. I should say. He was part of the upcoming of the Rock and Wrestling, era. He was there for, seconded Piper. He was always a good second. Never a main eventer. Never even really an upper mid-carder. He was maybe mid-carder at best. Always, prevalent the cast.
Let's don't forget the Steamboats also, and Jimmy Snuka's daughter.
Yeah, well, we'll move into that in a minute. That would be the future of the generation. You want to talk about Bray Wyatt? Stop that, because you don't want to go on a whole rant about Bray Wyatt, because I love him. He's my new man crush.
He is awesome.
I know he's awesome. Even JR said so. But then you've got the Samoans. I mean, good God. Name one time in the history of pro wrestling where there was not a Samoan. Everything from High Chief Peter Maivia to Afa and Sika to freaking, you had the Samoan SWAT team. You come in with
the Faces of Death with Ming and the Barbarian. They were trained out of that same family.
And that's the other thing. Ming / Haku has freaking, his son is Camacho. Sure, they're saying he's Latino, but still.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's right.
I didn't know that.
Then you move over to the Fijians. You had Jimmy Snuka. He freaking, even though Deuce.
Domino. Deuce?
No, Domino was a cracker. Even though Deuce was his adopted son, he's still learning from his father. Tamina, his blood daughter, she kind of talks out the side of her mouth like JR. It's just weird, but she's still kind of attractive. I'm scared of her. You've got that. Tamina running roughshod. You brought up the Usos. Behind the guns, behind the Motor City Machine Guns, and I don't care, they're still together, just not in TNA. They're together in my heart, and that's how it'll always be. TMCMG. But you've got the Usos. I'm going to say in the WWE, one of the most overlooked and underrated tag teams. Best entrance for a tag team ever. They don't get the credit they deserve. They should be having tag team gold. Who's their daddy? Rikishi. Who else have we got, Eddie?
Oh God, the list goes
Guerreros.
on. Yeah,
the Guerreros with Eddie's daughter coming in.
Well, yeah, that's going to lead me to the future. But you talk about modern day. We had Eddie Guerrero,
Chavo Jr.
Huh?
Chavo Jr.
And Chavo Senior right there at that time. Remember,
Chavo Classic
did some stuff with TNA and with WWE and Chavo Classic.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget, Hector Guerrero was a part of the Spanish announce team for TNA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then you had Hector over there. So the Guerreros who. Eddie, that is, there's a lot of people who consider tragic losses in the world of pro wrestling. Owen Hart and Eddie Guerrero. And you talk about your dream three-way match or whatever for the U.S. title. I would have loved to have seen Kevin Von Erich, Eddie Guerrero, and Owen Hart. That would be my second generation, dream match right there.
Oh, we're talking about second generation now. If we're talking about second generation, I would have to go with Owen. I'd have to go with David. Are we talking about three-way or four-way?
Whatever you want to throw in there.
Okay, I'd put it a four-way because I'm an asshole like that.
Yeah.
It would have to be Eddie, obviously, just like you said, and or Eddie or Malenko, because I'd like to see Malenko in some type of capacity.
And when Eddie was talking about families from Florida, you had Boris Malenko, and then his two kids, Joe and Dean. Dean probably the most recognizable name of the three, but they're ones that, like the Harts, have cranked out superstar after superstar. Not many people know that they've trained a lot more people than what is known. I mean, if I could find my list, and yes, kids, I have a list. I'm that much of a nerd of who Dean and Joe and even Boris before he passed away, who they sped out of Florida. You would be like, really? He was trained by him? Get out of here. But you got all this great talent right now, and it's not stopping. It's not stopping. FCW, if you look at it now, a good chunk of their roster is second and third generation superstar Bray Wyatt. You hear us bring that name up. You guys might not know who Bray Wyatt is. You might know him as Husky Harris.
Right.
Along
and
with
his father is?
His father is IRS, Mike Rotundo.
Yes, sir.
Also turning heads right now is his younger brother, Bo Dallas slash Bo Rotundo slash freaking what's his name, Duke, I think, I don't know. Anyway, he's a little bit of a pretty boy if you ask me, but that's beside the point. He's gonna, you're gonna see him coming up. By the way, Wicked, you got to start finding NXT on the internet.
Yes,
Bray Wyatt will be debuting on there soon. But the Wyndham Rotundo Mulligan family is producing. They had, you had Blackjack Mulligan, Barry and Kendall, and then Mike Rotundo came in, joined the family. And then they've got those two kids right there. To me, you would not think, if I say this name, you would not think, since she was a female, you'd be like, well, I know her dad was great, but Raquel Diaz, Shaw Guerrero.
Yep.
She is doing tremendous things. If you're not watching FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, and every time she comes on the screen, if you don't want to claw your eyes out, if you thought Vicky had heat, wait till you see Shaw. Because at least Vicky, you're just like, okay, shut up, old lady. But you want to hate Shaw or Raquel more because she's so damn pretty.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to hate you, but make out with you at the same time.
Is this the daughter that had the glasses in Eddie Guerrero's DVD?
Quite possibly.
I think so.
Oh my God! I feel so old when I saw Andy Van Slyke's son bat for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I felt old. I feel really, really old. The fact that some of these people are getting into the business slowly but surely. But if I can finish off my four-way really quick, I would have to add Ted DiBiase, obviously. So Eddie Guerrero, I almost said David Flair. Holy crap, that would suck. David Von Erich, Eddie Guerrero, and Owen Hart. Is that my four? I said four, right? Yes.
Yeah, I would
add. We'll say that four.
I would add Eddie Guerrero.
Barry Windham, though. I'm sorry, Barry Windham would be on the outside looking in that. I'm sorry, Barry. And let's not forget Goldust. Yeah. Goldust and Cody Rhodes. You talking about
that was another one.
The business.
Yeah.
Right there, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, if you would have asked me, 3 or 4 years ago when he first showed up, or maybe it's even 5 years ago, when Cody Rhodes first showed up in WWE, if you asked me, if you said, Mabo, do you think that guy's going to amount to anything? I would have said tag team champion at best. Future endeavored in 3 years. Look at him. He's tremendous intercontinental runs. Been in some of the, once he broke out of that, what were they called?
The metrosexual gimmick, I think, right after that, when he became the grotesque Cody Rhodes.
Legacy.
I think that when he went from dashing to the grotesque Cody Rhodes, as I like to call him, when he wore the mask, he started pausing and he started stressing out what he was saying, and he come into that heel mode. He's still in that exact same gimmick.
Yeah.
He just now doesn't have a mask.
Guys,
and I think that something, and we've all talked about this before, guys. And and I say it all the time. I tell these young guys, the guy Jed Johnson, coming up in the business at NWA Pro South, like they said, he stopped and went 2 or 3 times in the business. He just graduated high school in May, 18 years old. He's a kid, but he's been in the business for years. But he was one of those yardie guys that decided he wanted to be a wrestler, trained, and had his few goes. It just takes something in you to click, whether it's somebody giving you the right advice, whether it's you being able to go back and watch your matches when you get your footage, and that's a big thing, is that young guys have got to get their footage to go back and watch it. That's the best thing you can do, is to go back and watch yourself and watch what you do.
Amen.
And that's how you learn. That and being on the road, and if you're only as good as your opponent. If you're going to continuously wrestle the same guys and be in the same company, you're going to get left behind because you're not going to grow. If you go out and you start wrestling against guys that are better than you and managing against guys better than you, and et cetera, then you're going to get what? Better. And that's what's happened with Cody Rhodes. Something in him clicked. And now he has, like you said, and we had this conversation. I know you've got it archived somewhere. We went back and we all thought at one time Ted DiBiase may have been the one to break Undertaker's streak. Where's Ted DiBiase now?
Yep. Out hurt and doing DiBiase posse stuff.
Exactly. And Cody Rhodes is in there helping turn the Big Show into what he is now. back to being a main event.
Yeah.
That started with Cody Rhodes, and of course he's going to be overlooked because they're going to have John Laurinaitis. No! Cody Rhodes broke him down emotionally. He did what a great heel should do. And Big Show, of course, got over in the end, as it should be. Every booker known to man should be listening. Eventually the babyfaces have to win.
Yeah.
And he did. But he helped make the Big Show what the Big Show is now. See or no, Mabo?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can't have the Big Show that is now. You cannot have unless you would have had the Big Show that you had with Cody Rhodes.
Eduardo Pegasus.
Actually, I'm going to have to concur, and I'm going to have to call it right there because we're 3 minutes before the top of the hour. We could easily go another hour. I know.
Well, just tell me, yes or no. Did Cody help Big Show what he is now?
Oh, hell yes. Like I said, I completely agree.
Yes,
Let's run this real quick. No Way Out starts in about 2.5 minutes. U.S. Championship, Santino versus Ricardo, tuxedo match. U.S. Champion, okay, there's no title on the line. Santino versus Ricardo Rodriguez, tuxedo match. Mabo.
Santino.
Wicked.
Ricardo somehow wins it since it's a no title match.
I'll go with Ricardo. Divas title.
Yeah, I thought it was a title match, though.
It doesn't say championship match.
See, I've seen where it said champion, so
okay. I'm just looking at WWE.com right now, and they really don't call it a title match.
Okay, then you've got the official one then.
Divas Championship, Layla versus Beth Phoenix. Mabo.
Layla.
Wicked.
Layla, unfortunately.
Beth, I hope. Intercontinental Championship, Christian versus Cody. Mabo.
Christian's gonna hold on to it.
Wicked.
Yep, Christian will hold on to it. This is going to be a great feud.
I think Cody gets the belt back for some reason. My gut's telling me that. WWE Championship, Triple Threat, Punk, Bryan, Kane. Mabo.
At any point, I would have said Punk, but I've heard things. I'm still going to say Punk, but don't be surprised if he does get screwed out of it somehow, some way.
Wicked.
I'm thinking AJ helps Daniel Bryan somehow, and Daniel Bryan wins it, but I have to go with Punk. But don't be surprised, maybe I said, don't be surprised if Bryan pulls this off with the help of AJ. And great psycho chick, by the way.
CM Punk may dig crazy chicks, but I think Kane digs psycho chicks. Kane goes over with the belt with help from AJ. World Championship, Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler. Wicked. Wicked.
Ziggler, I think, pulls this off somehow. I think Ziggler pulls this off with the help from Ric Flair. I'm just fine.
There you go. Mabo.
I'm going to go Sheamus, but just because I don't think they've finished up business with him and Del Rio, but I would not be surprised, and I would actually fly up there and kiss Vince McMahon or whoever booked it. I would kiss him on the lips if they do give Dolph the title. I think Dolph deserves it, and he deserves a good title run.
I give it to
I don't think he'll win the title. I think he'll win the match, but not the title.
I would like.
Okay. Well, see, I didn't know what you were saying.
I would like to see Dolph win the title. But I think they're going to keep.
Too.
I think they're going to keep it on Sheamus for a little while longer. Steel cage match, Big Show, Cena. Mabo.
I'm going to go Cena. This one's for the troops.
Wicked.
Cena. Big Show. Big Show somehow pulls this off, I think.
I'm going for it. Cena pulls it off somehow or another. Real quick, now moving on. Even shorter. ROH Best in the World 2012 next Sunday, 4 Central, 5 Eastern from the Hammerstein Ballroom in the Manhattan Center in New York. This is going to be one hell of a show. For those in the New York area, don't forget there will be a special pre-show autograph signing. Maria Kanellis, Fit Finley, Nigel McGuinness, Roderick Strong, all and more will be there.